Officially, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Options Income Launchpad Market Midpoint. My name is Scott. I will be your host. As always, let me remind you, what we do is for education, illustrative purposes only. Nothing here is considered or intended to be a recommendation to buy or sell any security financial product. We don't give advice. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. Decisions made should be done at your own risk. Yada, yada, yada. Good morning, Sarah. Great to see you. Glad to have you here. Okay, what are we going to do? Opening analysis. Revisit our posture. See how it's holding up. Mindset for open trades. Got several on. Things are looking pretty good. Talk about our concerns. We still have a VIX slightly elevated. We need to be aware of that. Let's review if there's any more, right? Anytime we have a window, what we call a trading window. If you ever go back and you look at when the market makes a move, and you were to go trace that move back to the beginning, you're typically going to have 2 to 3, maybe even a 4-day window. And in that window, you'll have early opportunities that set up and give a trigger first. Then you'll see, the market itself, like the SPY, the QQQ, it gives a signal, and then there may be another day or so for things that are lagging. But generally, most bullish stocks are following a very similar cycle. So we have a window. You could have put a trade in on Friday, and it would have been maybe a little anticipatory. We did get a signal Friday. Did we get a signal Friday? Trying to remember if we put one on then. But we got one Monday. We got one Tuesday. Are there likely to be some today? I would say, yeah, there's still going to be valid signals. And then once that window's on, it's like, well, that's your bounce trade window. Certainly there are opportunities for like a continuation trade, but that's a different trade type. Not a bad type. It's just a different type. A continuation trade means the momentum's already started. You're going to have less reward to risk ratio, but you would expect that system to be right more often. But you're not going to get 3-to-1, 4-to-1 on a continuation. You're hoping to get a 2-to-1 on a continuation. Anyway, just wanted to kind of talk about that because we talk about these windows, and I'm thinking, I think we have one now. And there's plenty of time to get a trade in, get a consolidation, and get another one towards the end of the month or towards the beginning of December, where we have our Santa rally ongoing. Now, is that definitely going to happen? No. But is there a good chance that we're seeing this in place? Yes. So we will review the opportunity list to see if there's anything left in this window, explore some setups, talk about the trades we have on. Don't forget that this week we're on section 3, which is trading rules. So that is the actual rules of execution for these systems. If you have a bounce trade system, what are the rules for a setup and a trigger and a target and a stop and a timeline for a bounce trade? And how would they differ from the same construct for a bounce trade? A bounce trade is a different setup. It's a different trigger. It's a different thought process when it comes to stops and adjusting stops. We don't sit through hiccups on continuation trades. Right? A hiccup is a concept for a bounce trade. You try to catch it at support, it starts to move, and then it just sort of hiccups a little bit, hits that support again, and then it takes off. And then you're like, okay. Now a continuation trade, we don't like put a continuation trade on and then it hiccups. If it hiccups, it's wrong. That's the difference. Hopefully that makes sense. Breakout trade, that's a system you could develop. Systems could be developed around specific technical indicators, moving averages, right? People develop moving average crossover systems. People develop, systems that are based on very specific technical signals. That's what we mean when we talk about systems. Rules are the actual logistical constructs that provide us the what do we do, when do we do it, how do we do it playbook for each one. So hopefully you have at least one fully fleshed out trading system. And then as you're executing trades on that, you're starting to build or think about a new system. Okay, that's the trading plan progress section of the week. We're not going to actually talk about that later today. We're just going to go ahead and pop in. Let's go look at what's happening. Did I reload this? I can't remember if I did. I don't think I did. Let me get these reloading as well. The AI craze is eclipsing other opportunities. House could vote to reopen the government as soon as today. I think it's scheduled for later this afternoon, unless there's a surprise. Unless there's a surprise crossing of party lines, I would expect that the Republicans get that passed. Government, and then Trump signs it into law. Is that what it means? I guess. I don't know. But pretty decent start. Futures are up 0.32 on the S&P, 0.25 on the Dow, 0.6 on the NASDAQ, 0.25 on the Russell. So the NASDAQ continues to lead, which is why we continue to look for trades in technology. The VIX is going to open down some more, which is great. How low do we want the VIX to go? Let's actually start there. Where do we want the VIX to go to say, you know what, we can breathe, sigh of relief? Let's call it 1575. 1575 is what we're looking for. If it stalls and it hangs out and then it turns later this week, that will be absolutely concerning. Concerning about what? Well, we have these escalation moves like this, and it's settled back down. The problem is if it's resetting and starts doing it again, then our concern is that we end up back up there. So if we get a higher low, I am going to hedge it, probably, because I'll probably have on enough trades that I need to hedge it. If you're not trading much still, well, then there's less of a need for a hedge. So, yeah, when we talk about what are our concerns, that is my primary concern right there. We talked about that back. Now I'm getting a lot of back here. So let me delete this and start over. We actually talked about that would be concerning here, but that we're not going to assume that that's what's going to happen, because all of a sudden 3 days later we got this. So if we get that same 3 days, boom, we'll be in a great spot. If the catalyst for that is the government shutdown, which very well could be 100%. I would say that's definitely the type of catalyst that could make that push. If we get that and we get pushed back below here, then all right, we're out of the woods, so to speak, at that point. So this week, today's Wednesday, and this is Thursday, this is Friday. Yeah, we'd really like to see the government reopen without any problems, and then we'd like to see the market make a nice push. That's the ideal. Anything other than that, then we're going to start to flag it as a concern. And there's a very good chance that that will show up in our market posture. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about that. I felt like the VIX was one of the primary considerations that we were thinking about. Now, here's the SPY. You can see we're not quite back up to the old highs, but we're within 5 points. We've made a nice little rebounding pop. We bounced off that hammer right there. I still don't know why I'm missing volume from the 7th, but I am. And yes, indeed. Okay. What else? Let's look at what we have and look at what we're thinking about. So give me 1 second here to line this up. And why can't I get there? Apple, a little bit of a pause today. Nice signal yesterday, a little bit of a pause today. We don't love to see that. We'd like to see that turn around. Amazon trying to push. Anytime we're talking about market leaders, we'd really like to see them lead. So there you go. ANET still kind of grinding along at that support level, still under the 50. I think it needs to do more to convince us. APH hitting a resistance level. It looks like we may actually want to wait for a consolidation down. AVGO, Broadcom seems to be in a hiccup and trying to come out of that hiccup. AXP, well, that one really is on a continuation. It's on a slow grind up, but it continues to go. Bank of America, a little higher. Good to see financials participating. BBY is consumer discretionary. Now, this one is fighting to hold the 50. I would say this is right on the bubble. Some people might say that's a consolidation. I'm going to wait for it to break the consolidation, then come back down, give me the lower high, and then go. Some people may say, I like that it's held the 50, and I would trade if it were to pop out, right, of this oversold territory, which would mean we need to see what? We would need to see a pretty good size break, and then we think, hey, that could maybe make a run back up to the old high, and that would be tradable. So I would say that's 50-50. Bloom Energy is consolidating, and I would say there is a trade potential out here. Citigroup looks okay, kind of on a slow grind. A lot of that going on in the financials right now. This concept of a slow grind. But it's there. Okay. Caterpillar. Okay, so Caterpillar's trying to turn up out of this consolidation here, which is good for industrials. Caterpillar is a bit of a leader for us in that space. Right? So that would be nice to see. CCJ bounced off the 50. Looked like it was going to give a signal. Now it's in a hiccup. Okay, so I would actually say that the hiccup itself could be something that we look to find tradable. This is one that we crushed last time. Great trade from here to here. Yeah, I'd love to see if this thing could keep going. So I'm watching. I'm watching that for sure. CLS. I think CLS still looks like it's in a bit of a short consolidation pattern. Not much. But definitely still looking strong overall. If you missed it last night, we did a search on tech, and there's quite a few. Actually, I'm going to run through those real fast. I am going to put the updated list. That was requested. I will put the updated watch list later today. But this will be in the recording if you want to jump ahead of it. I'm going to walk through. Here's the communication services stocks that we're going to put on the list. WBD, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers. It's a little overextended, but a pullback could set something up. Fox. A little overextended, right? But still looking strong. Roku. These are probably names that sound familiar. Let me actually put this on a 6-month chart. This is a little shorter than I'm used to. There we go. Fiber, FYBR. Let me see here. FYBR. You can see they're all in the same kind of a place. They already moved. They're closer to resistance, so we have to be patient with them. The last one was Disney. That one got added late, and you can probably see why. But it did break out of this downward consolidation. It's got earnings. So if it can do okay on earnings, then the next pullback would be viable for us. This is not one that I would trade now, especially with earnings sitting there. So definitely be aware of that. Okay. And let's do the tech list, starting from the top. CIEN, strong stock, but a little overextended. CYTK, a little overextended. SanDisk, this thing is insane. Look at this stock. This thing has gone from 50 to 275 in a matter of 3 months. I mean, it is a damn rocket ship. I don't know if it's going to pull back and give us an opportunity, or if this thing is just running so hot. But you can see here they were expecting minus 22. They gained 29. Here they were expecting 58. They got $1.22. Like, they're smashing it. WDC, Western Digital, good strong stock, a little overextended right now though. And if you missed it, one of the things I said is we need to search way more frequently. Our watch list, sometimes I think and when I say we, I mean me, complacent with the strength of my watch list, because there's plenty of good stuff that I'm like, oh, I should have been watching this. So that's on me. I'm going to start to really try to push for that more. Seagate Technology, a little overextended. Here's Corning. Coherent is one that we added. Strong, but a lot of these have already moved and they're a little overextended right now. TER. Teradyne, maybe setting up for a trade after a good, strong earnings report. LRCX, Lam Research, waiting for a consolidation. AMKR, Ooh, AMKR is setting up. Amcor Technology. Look at that. That one's pulling back, starting to show consolidation. I would maybe look, this one's looking pretty good to me. I don't think the options will be great, but they look like they'd be okay. We've got 3.5 million shares on average a day. We'll see what happens there. ASX, same thing. Same thing, setting up in consolidation. Corrido, nope. That's Columbia Research. Corrido. CRDO is Credo. There we go. That one also. Those three are all very similar. I think they're from the same group. So I wouldn't trade all of them. I would pick one of those three. Shopify holding the 50. It dropped below and now it looks like it's trying to hold it. Still looks pretty good. Snowflake. That one just recently turned. PANW, Palo Alto Networks, still looks okay. Earnings coming up here. And then a couple of solar stocks. Look at this one. First Solar, back on the move in a bit of a consolidation. And NXT. Next Tracker looks good. Just made a strong move up. Now it's in a little bit of a consolidation. So all of those will be added to the watch list. And then we're going to start removing some too. So keep in mind that as we go through stocks, after adding some like this, if there's some stale ones on the list, we're going to bounce them. That's something I would definitely recommend that you're doing. Okay. Where were we? We were around Capital One, I would say. Capital One, maybe trying to bounce. Coinbase, it's up today, 2%, but it's overall still not looking great. Cisco, never really gave us what we wanted. They have earnings after market today. I like Cisco. I think it looks very tradable. You just have to think about the earnings. Delta, kind of sideways. The diamonds. So the Dow keeps pushing. Is this defensive? I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that, especially if the IWM's not keeping pace. Ford, come on, Ford. Keep on going. You can do it. You can do it. GE, I don't know what's going on with GE. This morning it was down here. Back up. It's on a hiccup. Initial stop would be back down in this area somewhere, and it probably got in the range. Now, of course, I'm never going to have something stopping me out that early in the morning, but I'm watching this. I don't like the way this is going. Now, if this can continue recovering and turn back into a white candle, or at least stay within, I need this to stay above this level here. So if it's where it is now, I'd give it some more time. But if it starts to roll over, I might lose patience. I'm sure you guys are picking up what I'm putting down on that one. Gold, still pushing a little bit. GM, just like Ford, still going. Google on a little stall. Goldman. So it would have been very hard to know that of all the different financials, Goldman was the one. Right? That would have been difficult. GTX. GTX, a little overextended, but still worth looking at. Again, here's the thing. You know, you're seeing the market showing this like, hey, they're expecting the shutdown is most likely going to end. But until it actually does, you know, there's still going to be some trepidation. We're unlikely to get the news until after the market closes. I believe the vote is actually, I think they're going to swear in the new person at 4, and then they're going to vote after that, which means the market's closed. I'm very reluctant to close any positions, especially for a loss, on the cusp of that if the market's going to have a strong reaction once the government's opened. So, we are making sure that we adhere to an acknowledgement of the news and what's likely to come with that, from that. Howmet. I like to see the industrials strong, but this not really looking like a new trade here. IBM. So there's IBM. This was chopping around a little bit, but this ended up being the right signal if you took this one. Not one that we pulled the trigger on, but one that we talked about together. Intel's kind of on a hiccup, on a stall. I'm okay with this, especially if it comes out of it. I would say, then I can just move my line over a little bit and say, okay, there we go. IWM, you can see that the IWM is moving, but it's really starting to look not as strong as the Dow. And I think that our major market numbers may reflect that this week. So we have to be careful about that and what we see. JCI looks good, but overextended. This would need to pull back to trade it, but it is contributing to the strength of the industrial sector. Lumentum. Yeah, that one just kind of moved on earnings. Didn't really give us a chance. Macy's is just continuing to move a little bit. MasterCard now. Meta continues to struggle. MIR, this is a new one. Mirion Technologies. And this is old resistance, new support. Broke out on earnings, pulled back. This looks viable. Something to be thinking about. Morgan Stanley. So it looks like investment banks, Goldman, Morgan, are outperforming standard banks and, investment brokers, standard banks and credit right now. Both Goldman and Morgan are looking pretty strong and helping to lead financials hopefully into a better place. Microsoft, no for me. Micron, consolidating, maybe a trade setting up. I definitely like Micron. Definitely thinking about that. Netflix is a no. Northrop Grumman is a no. Nvidia on a bit of a hiccup, and you've got earnings not too far away. So I think we're going to be unable to trade there. PDD, same thing. It's kind of hitting some resistance. It's got earnings in a few days. PLTR, I know a few people liked this. It turned fast and hard, and then it's like we're pausing, and now it's pulling back, and so there's some jitters in there. I was unconvinced about Palantir, and it's one of my favorites. Less so these days. The Qs started strong today, but seem to be giving back a little bit, so we have to be aware of that. Reddit, no. The Real coming out of earnings. Well, we gotta wait. Had great earnings. Great earnings. And made a new high, and now it's just kind of starting to stall out. We'll wait for the pullback on that. Rocket Lab is a no. Ross Stores looks good, but needs a pullback, and you have earnings coming up, so be careful there. RTX started to move, and now it's starting to pause. SEX, still waiting for the hiccup. Silver, pushing higher. Oh, look at silver, almost back to the old highs. Bill Reinhart, I would definitely take some profits at a resistance level, but it still looks like it has some momentum to try to make a higher high. I mean, right? Like, gets to the old high, makes a higher high. Gets to the old high, makes a higher high. Gets to the old high, take a little, see if it can't push on up to 34 and catch just a little bit more. That's what I would say. SPY, kind of flat, but holding on to a little bit of gains today. SYM is new. Let's see if this can hold support. Normal to see that quick bounce down when it hits when it hits like a new high. I don't think it's the fact that it hit the new high. I think it's the fact that you'll notice a lot of things in this morning's market. Yeah, it can hit that old high, bounce down a little bit, kind of a cup and handle style, like, oh, right? When people see it hit old highs, there's a little bit of a psychological barrier where they're like, well, last time it didn't get through there, so they take a little bit of profit. But so yeah, I mean, that's what I would be thinking about there. Symbiotic still setting up. TJX looks great, but it's at a resistance level, starting to roll over, and you've got earnings coming up here. Tesla still pulling back a little bit. TSM, just kind of holding. It's turned sideways, but still holding above the 50. Uber bouncing back on up. We said it tends to hit 92. Trying to make that move. Today's VIX says what? Today's VIX, as of now, is a little bit concerning. As of now. MC. Oh, you're right. Moleus and Company. What? Let me see. MA. You are right, Don. You are right. I don't know why I thought that the whole time. They're not very far off. I just changed it. They're very similar, actually, in scope. Thank you for flagging that. I think I just was walking through it without ever looking at a name. I remember now. MCMA. Good call. Where was I? Let's get to VRT. VRT kind of gave a turn signal, but now is in a hiccup signal. We'll see. That still looks overall bullish. Wayfair still looks strong, overextended though. Walmart still a little bit struggling here. What's the takeaway? Things are pausing a little bit, which is okay. GE, it's holding up. Ford, still pushing, looking pretty good. Apple, a little bit of a pause, but still viable. On the cusp of the market or of the government reopening. Be very careful. Be very careful about taking losses on the cusp of an event that we know is likely to be a catalyst for the market. It's been holding things back. When we get that opening back up, very good chance that the market will respond to that when it gets the final news and everything's open and we start to see normalcy returning. So do I see new trades for now? No. We got them on when we were supposed to. And now we're going to try to manage through what we're seeing here. Questions, comments, or concerns? I may just end. as I a little update. So my surgery, crazy enough, is 1 week from today. Can you guys believe how fast that's coming up? And so I've been doing a bunch of things to prep. So I have to go for a prep meeting this morning to see a doctor. So, if there's no questions, maybe we'll end just a little bit early today. I don't want to end if anyone has anything, but that way I might beat traffic. How are we feeling, everyone? Good to see you, Don. Take care. Everyone's feeling all right. Trades are going okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bob Rowland. All right. Well, listen. What's next on our docket? Tomorrow morning will be Glenn. We will have Q&As on Thursday. Everything will be the same schedule going forward for the rest of this week. So, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Oh, don't forget, this Sunday is when our good friend Bob Walker is going to come in and say goodbye to the group. If you've ever interacted with him, you know he's a magnificent person, and would love to see everyone give him a nice send-off as he tries to recover from his medical issues. That's a great way to end the comment, Craig. Feel good, need to be patient. That's it. That's advice for all of us. So have a great rest of your day today, everybody. As always, happy trading.